Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond. Welcome everybody to another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is Friday, December 2nd, 2016. Today is going to be episode 184. So we've been doing this for quite some time with a bunch of nerds coming together to talk about cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and how this paradigm changing database structure is going to change the world and is already changing the world. We have many people who come on here who have been in the top 20 cryptocurrencies in the world, a lot of them who are in the top 100 cryptocurrencies, and they've talked about their project and they've been open with the communities who have invested in their projects and have talked about what they're into with the cryptocurrency and answering questions and asking questions and learning. It's not a one-sided kind of thing here at these Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts that we hold. So I want to thank everybody again for being part of this, because it's amazing to look in here and see how many people keep on coming in because of one thing, right? What we all love, and the fact that this is one of the few places where we can talk and record everything and archive it. So thank you guys for being part of this. With that said, today we have Jonathan Bahai and Michael Maloney of PeerPlays. They're going to be here talking a little bit about some updates, and I'm going to leave it all up to them to say the rest. We've got Instructor 2121 of SteemTrails. He's going to be coming on and talking about the SteemTrails project. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on over there, so I look forward to hearing more updates on that end. And Virtual Growth is going to be coming on. With that said, though, we have SteemIt, which is the back end that we utilize for communities to upvote their candidates for Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts. So whenever you want to reach out and get more people you want to reach out and get more people who trust you, who know what you've been doing in the ecosystem, to have them upvote you on the SteemIt platform. And that is one of the ways that you can get your project to be first or second or third and so on and so forth. Now, with that said, I will try to make sure that as many projects as I can are covered. So just consider that as well. But I do like the fact that people can show off, the trust factor and the community members who trust them. So with that said, Michael Maloney and Jonathan Bahai, are you guys there?
We sure are.
Okay, well, you guys are here to talk about PeerPlays. So I will go ahead and step down, and you guys can give some of the amazing updates.
Thank you very much, Fuzzy. And amazing they are. I'm so excited to be giving today's update. You know what's coming. So hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of Bunker Chain Labs, the company which is heading up the PeerPlays project. And today on the testnet, we have done the big game reveal. If you go to peerplays.tech right now, you will be able to play our first on-chain game running in Graphene. This is a big breakthrough today. We want to thank everybody for all the support that they've given us getting to this point. We want to, once you go there, you'll see that there's the ability to create tournaments, and you'll see that the game is in fact rock, paper, scissors tournament. So we've taken the ancient game of rock, paper, scissors, which is a thousands of year old game, matched it up with modern day tournament, and created a whole new exciting real-time game which everybody can play. So on the testnet, you'll be able to team up with friends and put on tournaments and see who can win at rock, paper, scissors. The exciting thing about rock, paper, scissors is that it's the game that we've created is that it's provably fair. So every single move you make, whoever your friend is, they can't take back that they didn't in fact make the move, because it's all being run on the blockchain. It's all decentralized. So very excited about this. What this means, though, in terms of the PeerPlays project, is that from this day forward, for the next following this, over the course of the next few weeks, actually every single week, leading up to the next PeerPlays fundraise, we're going to be having updates every single week with some major information regarding what's going to be happening next and how to get involved and what kind of new developments are happening. So it's very important that everybody pays attention to those weekly updates, because you don't want to miss what's coming out. So we're very excited. Like we said, it's it took us a little longer getting here, but excited with the results so far. So that is the major update for this week. And in terms of how to play, we have created a nice tutorial video made by Chris Coney, who did a fantastic job on that. And it'll show you how to be able to play the game, how the tournaments work, and allow you to get started quick and easy. We posted this on SteemIt, so we've just posted it. I'll be sharing the link in the chat here after I'm done. And we've also posted news of this on PeerPlays News, and it'll be going out to the social channels shortly. So everybody who's here now, you heard this here first on Beyond Bitcoin. So for those that aren't listening in all the time, you should know that when it comes to finding out about what's going to happen when, you might want to tune in here every Friday to find out exactly what's happening on the industry before everybody else does. So just a little note on that. Anyhow, so I'm going
Thank you for the plug, man. I'll take it.
So yes. Anyhow, again, very excited. So everybody head to PeerPlays.tech, get your game on, and rock, paper, scissors each other away. And with that, I'm going to pass this off to Michael, who is going to be able to go into a little bit more details about how it works, how to play, and also answer any questions anybody might have. Thank you very much.
And I'm just going to add on to that. He is a pit viper at rock, paper, scissors, so be careful playing him. I've been humbled. Go ahead, Crypto. Step up.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Michael Maloney. I'm one of the main project managers of the PeerPlays project, and I want to sort of be your tutorial video this morning and give you a little bit of tips and advice on how to sort of make the most out of the testnet. So everything on PeerPlays is peer-to-peer, which means that you can't really just sort of jump on and play by yourself. You could do that if you opened up, accounts in a couple different web browsers, but that wouldn't really be very fun. So I want to sort of go over maybe a couple options of what you might try to do. First of all, perhaps the best way would be to get somebody close to you, a family member or a friend, have them jump on the computer and show them how to set up an account, and then you just can go at it. Another option to jump in, I think, our PeerPlays channel, which is http://peerplays.chat. And see if anybody's poking around in there at the time that you happen to be on, and you might be able to find a partner to play with. And another option is actually to set up a tournament. So essentially, we've got a number of different features here that we've put together. We have a tournament management system, which is separate from the game itself. And what that means is that this tournament management system can be used for other games as well. And the tournaments themselves are a single elimination tournament bracket, which means that you start out, level 1, everybody is paired up, and then the winners of each of those pairs reduce down to the next bracket and so on until you reach down to the final game and the winner. And so when you go on to the testnet, you'll actually have to create an account first. We've got a video on peerplays.com/news Chris made a while back that shows how to create an account. So if you're not familiar how to do that, you can jump on and check that out. But then when you get onto the testnet, essentially you can create a tournament. Anyone can create a tournament. You'll get a handful of test tokens into your wallet so you can have those to play with. Creating a tournament, you've got a number of different parameters you can set. So I'll kind of go over that just to give you guys an idea of how that all works. And again, Chris has got this explained in the video really well. So, but you can set how many players will play in the tournament. And right now we have just set up for even tournaments so that they all resolve down to 2. So we've got it set for 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64 player tournaments. And after that, you'll be creating a place where you essentially say what the buy-in would be. So this is you as the tournament creator. You're creating this tournament so that other people can join this tournament. And so the buy-in obviously is what everyone's going to pay to play in the tournament. The winner of the tournament takes everything minus the rake fee, and then that rake fee goes to the network and gets paid out in profit sharing. So essentially, you can, as the tournament creator, you can say however much the buy-in will be for the tournament. The next parameter is the number of wins. So that simply means, in a rock, paper, scissors game, obviously, you'll do best 3 out of 5 or best, 6 out of 10 or however you want to do it. And that number of wins simply means the first person to that many wins is the winner. So then you have also, beyond that, a whitelist feature. And the whitelisting basically means that you can create a tournament where only you and your friends can play, or a private tournament. You basically whitelist all the accounts that are allowed to join the tournament. If you leave that blank, then basically anyone can join the tournament. So it's a public open tournament. After that, you have the registration deadline. So the registration deadline is the deadline for people to join the tournament. If the tournament hasn't been fully filled up by that deadline, then everyone receives their buy-in tokens back. So that's a fail-safe against if the tournament doesn't have the total required number of players, it doesn't end up going off or end up starting. And then you have another parameter where you can set an actual start date and time. So this is specifically useful for tournaments with larger players or private tournaments. This is what I suggest that people do a few of these and set them up. Maybe even some smaller or medium-sized ones so that people can join, and then you can come back and check out, playing in the larger tournaments. And I think we're going to try to organize something like this too in the near future. But this is something that anybody in the community can do pretty easily. And actually anyone can simply go on and see which public tournaments are there and join one for the future, and then come back at the start time, whenever the start time is, and play in a big tournament, and you'll kind of see how that works. The other option then, besides setting a specific start time, is simply just to start X number of minutes after the maximum number of players join. So this is something that's really useful if, especially going forward, when the blockchain launches and we have a number of different games on here and people are able to come on and just play head-to-head matches. We're going to have the GUI set up essentially where we can do a quick start tournament where people can jump on. If you're going to be on for 5 or 10 minutes, you can set up a 2 or 4 player tournament, and likely someone else will probably come along and scoop that up, and you'll be able to play right away. So that's why that feature's in there. So all of that said, some of you that are listening right now may have not actually been looking at the screen, and so won't be able to keep up with everything. But come back and listen to this recording again, or check out the video actually, which is even better explanation than what I just gave.
That's probably the best way.
So, but in any case, I did want to mention that just because, again, because it's a test net and because it's peer-to-peer, you need to find a partner to play with. There's no way to simply just get on and play the game, again, unless you sort of set up 2 separate browsers and play against yourself. But yeah, so
you always win.
you
always lose.
Yeah, you always lose too, unfortunately. So
it depends on what kind of person you are. You know what I mean?
Alrighty, so yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, everything I have in terms of update. We're just, we're sort of we're excited to launch this, but we've got literally just such a mountain of things going on in the background right now that it's almost, it's we don't have a whole lot of time to sort of spend and promoting and participating right now. So everyone who's in the community, everyone who can hear this and who can go check it out, get together and play against each other, so everybody can kind of have the opportunity to get on and have a chance to play. Anyway, that said,
I'll practice playing with some people. I need to practice because apparently you're gonna whip my ass.
Yeah, I guess I'm not allowed to trash talk you anymore since I won. Otherwise, I'd be a sore winner, right?
I know it sucks, but I'm still gonna trash talk you because I can only go up from here, buddy.
Yeah.
Remember, go watch the movie Rudy. All right, I just want you to go watch the movie Rudy.
Oh no, you can't compare yourself to Rudy.
Well, on rock paper scissors, I haven't earned that yet. But I'm planning on earning that. I'm going to be rock, paper, scissors, Rudy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man. This is so exciting, and the truth is,
it was
one of the things that we set out to do back in the beginning when we started thinking of the implications of what we're doing, right? And this is always sort of in the forefront of our minds. What it is that we're going to be able to do with this technology, what type of things are going to be possible just to help people. And one of the things we started thinking about was this idea that a single elimination tournament bracket is kind of a miraculous thing in a lot of ways, because if you have a 16-person tournament and you win 3 games in a row, I think 4 games in a row, you win the whole pot. So, and that's the same for 32, 64 player tournaments. You got 5 or 6 games in a row. So, there's people around the world, I think, that are going to be able to benefit from this. There's a lot of places that people don't make a whole lot of money, but you can scrape together a half a day's pay one week, and you could potentially win a month's pay or more. And that goes for anybody, I suppose, not just people who don't make a lot of money. But it's a really exciting thing to be able to play a game that's, like Jonathan said, it's 2,500 years old. It's totally universal. Everybody I don't think there's really probably anyone in the world that hasn't played it, at least in the developed world. And it's something that's fun. It's something that connects you with somebody in real time across the internet. And there hasn't really been a strong need for this, I think, in the past, because there's never really been this wagering aspect that's been tied into it. And of course, as we all know, there's more on the line when you're wagering, and so there's more there's more intensity there. There's more there's a psychological element that already exists in rock paper scissors that's sort of intensified when you've got money on the line, right? So in that regard, I think it's going to make it a lot of fun. And the wallet that we have right now actually is just a prototype in terms of the GUI for the game and everything. Like I've mentioned before, we have a whole new wallet that we've set up, and I actually was able to share with Justin earlier today, Fuzzy, a couple of those screenshots, and he can maybe comment a little bit on his opinion of them. But it's looking really, really good, and that's going to be a big plus going forward by the time we get that up on a public test net, which we're shooting for January to do that. You guys are going to be able to start poking around on what is effectively the first completely redesigned graphene wallet since BitShares. Well, I guess Steam has a redesigned graphene wallet. So the first redesigned graphene wallet since Steam, and it looks really awesome. So yeah, that's our big news for this week.
I guess we could call it a wallet. it's a very interesting wallet. It's more basic, you know what I mean? It's like one cryptocurrency as opposed to like you would have in a QT wallet, as opposed to
Yeah.
what
So,
these
well,
ones
actually,
are.
yeah, I'm not sure. I might not have shown you specific. I only showed you a handful of screens, Fuzzy. This wallet will support all cryptocurrencies. It is a duplication of every single function that's in the current BitShares wallet. So it's not at all basic. It's actually extremely complex.
Yes.
The way that we have it all
No, I'm not talking about
streamlined.
PeerPlays. I'm talking about that's what Steam it is.
Oh,
It's
Steam
a
it.
very
Yeah.
simplified
Okay.
version. There's one token, that's it. It's kind of hard to say. You know what I mean?
I was like, what
They're
are you
very
talking about,
different.
Fuzzy? Yeah, yes.
Hmm.
Okay, sure. I thought you were talking about the PeerPlays wallet. I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my head, like, what did I show you? Because that's not at all.
No. I wasn't even speaking about that, but you can go ahead and spill the beans about whatever you want to on that front.
No, I'm going to keep my mouth shut, of course. But
Oh.
what I what I will say is that it's going to be really awesome. It already is awesome, and we also have. I think there's something else I want to say, but I'm not going to say it just yet. But we have a new plan for designing the games too, which hopefully I'll be able to come on and talk to you guys about soon. That'll allow us to get in some really cool graphics and things like that, so we can start putting together a number of different games. So yeah, so that's basically it. Just like absolutely groundbreaking stuff here, I think, and I say that without the hint of irony or self-aggrandizement. This is something that a lot of people have been working on for a long time, and it's really feels really good to be able to finally have this to show the world. So
I have a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
What could you review the witness involvement? Is that something that you're opening up yet, or is that still something that you're kind of holding off until things progress a little further?
Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit in the past, and I'll give a real high level overview because there's going to be quite a bit of detail. We haven't actually, although we've discussed and have worked out a number of different points of it, we don't have the full documentation on any of it yet, obviously. But essentially, we have mentioned that the first major app that we're moving towards is a sports betting app. And because of that, the witnesses are essentially going to be acting as oracles. And so we have it'll be an entire extremely organized way for witnesses to be able to obtain and publish information, results of sporting matches, scores of sporting matches. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of APIs in the world that give sports statistics. And so essentially witnesses on PeerPlays are going to be held to quite a bit more strict standards, I think, than the witnesses on either BitShares or Steam, in that it's going to be very, very important for them to be continually publishing feeds of many feeds. Witnesses, on PeerPlays may be publishing, upwards of 100 feeds a day, and publishing them accurately and on time. And these are the types of things that are going to determine whether or not witnesses are going to keep their jobs, essentially, because it's going to be very important to be able to run these decentralized. I guess we'll call them prediction markets, for lack of a better term now. Although a sports betting exchange is really more technically what we're building.
Okay, so thanks for that info, and it's good to review the differences, which you just highlighted a major one for anybody that's a witness in Steam or BitShares right now. But I'm not really looking for details. I'm kind of looking for when you expect to want to have the witness, when you want to start bringing a bunch of witnesses on board, and of course to do that you're going to have to disclose what the requirements are, what the pay is going to be, all those kind of things. That can come later. I'm just looking, when are you planning to do it, and what's the time frame for that?
Sure. I believe as of right now we're looking at January, early to mid-January, when all that's going to start coming together. So that's, yep.
Thanks.
I would just like to suggest that you consider incentivizing witnesses to not be actual just single individuals, but to be small teams, maybe with some type of multi-signature capability. That inherently would have more credibility.
Yeah, so one of the ideas that we have that we're looking at is, obviously witnesses have sort of the choice of whether or not, to what degree they want to dox themselves, and I don't necessarily mean publishing your full identity or anything like that, although that's possible, and I think a healthy blockchain should probably have a mix of people who are more anonymous and people who are more known. It gives a little more robustness to the system. But yeah, I agree with that, Brindle Swan. I think that having more, the witness job should really be a job that is, something that's taken very seriously, and something that should be, should be sort of an honor almost in that regard. People who do their jobs well, and people who, one of the concepts that we always discussed sort of in a theoretical sense back when the whole concept of being a witness was sort of just originated, and we just started using this consensus mechanism, was the idea that as these networks grow, as the DPoS network grows and it gets really, really big, there's going to be more demands on the witnesses. There's going to be more demands for witnesses that do certain things, and the reality is, if certain witnesses don't want to do them, the market, so to speak, and by the market I mean sort of, I guess, the token holders, the people who have stake in the network, may choose to, make the choice of going with witnesses who are more in line with these types of things. So in terms of creating the tools and things like that, part of our development, one of the branches of our development, is going to be for continual improvement and of the design, of the core design of the blockchain. So we've got a lot of different plans and ideas about not just the witnesses, but also the proposal system. And so there's a lot of different ways in which we're going to be looking at achieving things such as what you're talking about. Multi-sig for witnesses is one of them. So, but yeah, that's a great idea.
Thanks, and congratulations, and thank you guys for breaking it here first.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for asking so many awesome questions. Yeah, I mean, I every week I come on, I got to kind of prepare myself, because I don't know what's going to happen, and but it's just there's everything that's asked is just most time is spot on, and there's so many good questions I'm fielding every week. So that's good news. That tells me that everybody who's paying attention and interested in the PeerPlays project is aware and intelligent, and that's going to be absolutely necessary, because we've got something that's really cutting edge here. And if it wasn't for people that were able to keep up and participate, we'd have a lot harder time gaining the momentum that we have. So now.
So real quick, I like to ask this question. And first off, do you guys hear fuzz from me?
Yes, extra. You mean like a little extra fuzz than normal? Yes.
Yeah, a little extra fuzz. Hold on a second. Let me unplug and plug me in again. Are there any people in specific that you guys would like to thank for helping get to the point where you guys are at right now?
I don't want to do the Academy Awards thing here. I think at this stage, I mean, this is a major development, but truthfully, we're still just at the very beginning stages of all this. So this is our prototype. I'll tell you that we've had a lot of help from a lot of people behind the scenes, and in that regard, I don't want to just start rattling off everybody's names, but there will be a point in time, I promise you, Fuzzy, in the future, where I'll be able to do a warm, hearty thank you to and name everybody's names. But at this stage, the PeerPlays community, everyone who's gotten on and purchased tokens and traded our tokens, and everybody who's participated in the Rocket Chat channel, and obviously all of our team members, both in-house and contract workers that we have working for us. It's just been, I mean, everybody's so enthusiastic about it. It's amazing. We've been working really hard, but we wouldn't even have come close to being able to achieve this without without a huge number of people giving a lot of effort. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of people behind the scenes. How many of you guys have on your team? Are you allowed to say?
Truthfully, we've been negotiating contracts for the last 3 weeks. So, this information is going to be released very shortly. Like Jonathan said, we have basically a schedule of rolling announcements starting this Friday, and everything's lined up for all of that. So I'm going to hold off, and I don't want to be the one that says something I shouldn't at this stage. So.
Fair enough. So all this stuff is going to be out. I'm just going to say, because it is cool that this is on chain. I don't know of any other games that are directly on chain, other than maybe, I think that there are some on Bitcoin, but not something that's really fast. Well, actually, sorry,
go ahead. I was just going to say, this is really the selling point here. I mean, they're really the thing that differentiates us. I mean, we've seen a rock paper scissors game on Ethereum, but it's nothing like this. It's nobody has 3-second block times. Nobody has a real-time interactive interface that people can literally play with each other, back and forth, and nobody has profit sharing, and that is a huge key and a huge linchpin in all of this, because every game that's played on the PeerPlays network, a percentage of that, the proceeds of that game get put right back into the hands of PPY holders. So that's absolutely huge, and we think that value proposition is something that at this stage nobody else is offering anything close to that.
Well, okay. Well, let's go ahead. We're about at 30 minutes, and we've covered a lot today, to be honest with you. And it seems like we can always go over on every one of these segments, which makes me wonder sometimes if maybe I should just make them each an hour and just say hell with it. But how can people get into this, get contact with anybody who can help them if they want to, be part of this project?
Yeah, that's thank you, Fuzzy. We've got first of all, just our main webpage is peerplays.com, and the news site, which is where all of the news and announcements go, is peerplays.com/news. And then of course we've got our Steemit handle is PeerPlays. So follow PeerPlays on Steemit, and you'll get notice of all the announcements there. Everybody's contact information for the most part is on the website or on the news site. And you can also check out the Rocket Chat channel, like I mentioned before, https://peerplays.chat, which is kind of the area that's a little more active usually with people. So we also, I guess one other thing I'm supposed to mention here is we'd like to ask if people have specific feedback in terms of any glitches or anything like that they find. Obviously, this is a test net, and things aren't always necessarily going to run perfectly smoothly. But we do have a test net channel on Rocket Chat. So if you got anything like that, hop into the channel specifically for the test net and the testing channel, and mention that, and we'll be able to see what's going on there. So thanks again, guys, and Moving on. Good stuff. We'll be back next week with some more big announcements. So stay tuned.
Everybody's off playing rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, I had to check my connection because make sure I didn't get rebooted or something like that.
Were you next anyway, Instructor 2121?
Yeah, I'm thinking I was. I didn't check the post and find out, but somewhere along those lines, I guess.
Well, let me go ahead and officially announce you here.
Ah, there he is.
Yeah, I had to fix up for some reason, technology likes to just occasionally just say, F you, buddy. I'm just going to make it difficult. And it's always at the moment when it shouldn't happen, So anyway,
I feel you.
Next up is Instructor 2121 of SteemTrails project on Steam, and it's pretty amazing. The more I've looked at it, and the more I've looked at actually how you've used Discord, I love how you have set it up so anybody can have their own projects. But I'm not the person to talk about it because I'm not the one running it and who created it. So maybe I should step back, instructor, and let you step up.
Thank you, Fuzzy. Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on again today. It's been about a month since I was on last. We've had some growth out of SteemTrail. We've just kind of the people who are on today that don't really know the background. We brought SteemTrail to the Steam platform to mainly to expand the Steam platform in terms of growing communities within the Steam ecosystem. And the whole idea was to build and grow communities organically by bringing together individuals which are existing members of our community and potential new members, bring them all together with these common interests and build a community around that particular interest. In the 4 weeks, we've grown to, I think the last check I had, we've got a little over 60 trails. We call these trails mainly because we started off as a curation group, and we back to it. We call them trails to just identify the group for that particular interest, and we've got a little over 60 of them currently. We've got some that have a little participation, some that don't have any, but then we have several that are really active, which are normally, if you look at your trending pages inside of our profiles on SteemIt, you'll see a lot of those same ones trending are the active ones we have on SteemTrails. Here recently, we've been able to attract individuals who have been censored by other platforms because of them expressing their beliefs or are posting information that others find, for several different reasons, undesirable. So they kick them off and censor them. So we found that as a way to address that with our Steam platform and SteemIt, because one of the selling points that we have is our ability for our users to be non-censorable. Blockchain is immutable. Of course, the community can vote someone down, but they'll never censor them. We can always vote down undesirable content on our platform. But saying that, we've grown the trails quite a bit. We've gotten more activity on the trails here recently, and we've actually are bringing in some other parts to the project that are related to Steeming in general. In the form of long form versus short term posting, and I have a better update on that in the next week or two, because we just started that actually last night. I was up doing a lot of that last night. So, but as far as the update goes, we have grown quite a bit, membership wise and trail wise. It's pretty exciting watching the interaction on Discord, as Fuzzy mentioned. We are able to collaborate. That's one of the reasons why I moved from SteemIt.chat. I didn't want to, but Discord allows us to collaborate more precisely. We have chat, but we also have voice as well, so we can discuss things quite a bit. So that was more of a move on trying to serve a community need within SteemTrail. So given that, I'm just going to kind of open it up for questions, or maybe something I didn't cover in my little brief introduction there. You guys can ask away. Feel free.
What's your top one right now?
Yeah, the top. top trail we have. Kind of figure that was
It's an
coming.
interesting one right now, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mentioned the censorship on other platforms. One in particular was a Reddit was actually a subreddit called Pizzagate. Anyway, they shut it down. So we had a member of our Steam community that basically went out on Twitter and told everybody, hey, come here. We're not going to shut you up. We're going to let you speak and share your information. And we had an influx of new users. If you look in our trending tags on Steam, Pizzagate is the one that Fuzzy's referring to. And this particular...
It's a hot topic.
It's a very hot
controversial.
Topic. Very controversial. And also in our Discord channel for Pizzagate, there is a lot of information coming through there. And we have there are a lot of people, and I didn't realize this. We have a lot of people who are dedicated, but this isn't just a 3 or 4 week deal. I mean, some of these members have been doing this for quite some time. So
yes,
the information that that we see on real news, fake news, however you want to term it, I see stuff that I probably haven't seen before. So of course I have to go research that. But there's just a lot of things that I wasn't aware of.
You almost don't want to see, right?
Yeah, and that's another point to it as well. Is you kind of get a little bit of information overload, and I tell people this, I curate all day long. We got members on the platform that do it too, but the mind and the soul can only take so much of it.
Yeah.
But it's a necessary piece
to
here.
Reflect upon.
Yeah, because we don't get all the information. We want to be informed. So it is a controversial topic, but we have I'm not going to get way into it, but we have people involved, children. We just can't just pass it off. But we have to take a look at it. We can't dismiss it, is what I'm trying to say. So we have to look at it. But yeah, it has been this past week. This happened Sunday night, I guess. I noticed an influx of Pizzagate posts. A lot of them were new users, and being on the platform and looking at these all day, 7 days a week, it caught my eye. Because I look at new users and what they're posting about, so I can identify certain trends. And then I was informed reason why.
I hate to interrupt you, but these were probably people who were on Reddit doing this quite a bit. They were probably living on Reddit doing research on stuff like this. And what was interesting to me about the entire thing was, why would Reddit want to get rid of those users? Because those users
exactly.
Bringing a lot of, yes, it's a controversial topic, but isn't that what you want on a social network? Because controversy brings more talking and more people. Yep. So to me, it just doesn't make sense, especially when they had something like Friends of Paydos or something like that, that wasn't censored, which was very interesting to me to see that one was censored and the other wasn't. But that's not even the free market one, which to me is the biggest incentive, right? As a social network, you don't want to turn people away. Free speech is your business, man. That's your money.
Yeah, man, I agree. And anytime when you, like you pointed out, you have other topics, other subreddits on there, and you're like, well, dang, this is gay. Okay, yes, controversial. Yes, some of this stuff, the sources are suspect, but you can't just go ban, because you got other controversial topics on there as well. So where do you draw that line? But
yep,
one
the people
interesting
do by not participating in it. That's something that humans should do.
One interesting thing going on Reddit is the CEO, I forget his name, admitted to editing users' posts, and that kind of makes Reddit, in some ways, a new safe space because maybe you didn't write it. It's not an immutable blockchain, and now their own CEO has been caught messing with users' posts. So that's a weird twist.
Yeah, you're exactly
I hate to
right.
get too far off topic, but I did want to, talk about this a little bit because SteemTrails covers. There's gardening in SteemTrails, for God's sake, and then there's this. So there's a means of people utilizing this to kind of form their own communities, and I will say that I really appreciate what Instructor 2121 has been doing on this because I personally know that it's a lot of work going around trying to herd a bunch of cats, even if they're liking to drink the same milk as us. And not all of you guys are cats, of course, but getting other people who are kind of just I don't know what I want to do yet, or let them do their own thing. But you've built a structure where they can do that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Place where they can come. If they have that interest, they can start a trail on that interest. They can bring in friends, family, people on other platforms. And they can all build it together, and that gives us more engaging community, Steam in general, Steam it, but it keeps those individuals engaged, and that is relates to retention in our user base, and that's always the big thing. You get them here, but you have to keep them, and to keep them, you have to keep people engaged. You have to have their attention, keep them here, and if they can share these interests out, can grow it, that further increases their engagement on the platform and excitement and all that good stuff. But it's growing right now. You mentioned gardening. Gardening is one of our bigger trails there. We have one called foraging as well, which was pretty interesting. It's the curators in that particular trail. They're growing it the way I envisioned it. Slow growth, moderate growth. But people who come in, they're dedicated.
To the
Yeah, they love it, and
yeah,
and it's a big community out there that, quite frankly, before the trail came about, I didn't read much about. I knew it was there. I thought berries and things like that, but there's a lot of interesting things in there that these members post about. So point saying that is, if your interest, you don't see a tag on it, but you think it's a cool thing to write about it. Put your tag in there, and if you want to grow that tag, that category, and you feel like you don't quite know where to go, come check us out at SteemTrail. We'll create you a trail. We'll help you get your post out there, get it noticed. We'll also provide you with your very own collaborative platform with Discord, where you can attract new people in, maybe some friends, colleagues that you know on other sites, invite them over, and you guys can grow that thing. Because we have other things we're going to do with trails, and the curation of those trails is, I mentioned before, we're going to build communities out of this, and those communities go beyond just collaboration in a channel. There are a lot more things we have planned for SteemTrail.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about it. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody have any questions for me?
Would you post the link
to the Discord channel?
I don't know. Just I've been meaning to look into SteemTrail. I haven't. Where do I get started?
I will post a link here. You can find us on steemit.chat right now until we get our website up. And we have a channel there in steemit.chat. where I have an invite code posted for our Discord channel. You can also, on any of our trail accounts we're posting all the time, you will find that link in any of those trail accounts. You can visit my profile. I also have several posts that I have written based on the white paper I wrote several months back. It also has links in there as well. But I'll also post it. So I see someone already has. Yeah, we got it posted in the chat channel right now. But the goal is eventually we're going to have a SteemTrails site along. Within that site, we'll have that information where it's easier to find instead of having to go through all the posts and the channels and all that cool stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, thanks, instructor. With that said, is there anything else that you have before we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, just a real quick. We started a new project last night. This has to do in relation to a short post. We've been kicking this around for a while. So we started curating the news tag, where we're doing a short post. Yeah, we're doing a short post version. That tag can be found news link on SteemBets. So click news link, go check it out. We've actually started curating this with Robinhood Well, so it's a little bit off of SteemTrails some, but you guys go check that out. I just want to get that out there when I have a little bit of time out there. But not fuzzy as far as anything else. I'll wait till the later date when I get more information, and we can add more stuff, a better update on some of the other things we're working on with SteemTrail.
Sounds good. I know that there's some things that I'm trying to do that we could talk about maybe during the after party. But I will say that I love your project, man. I really do love what you're doing. I think that it's a really good way of help. You essentially are helping everybody to form their own guilds around content that they care about. So it's just the perfect idea for Steam in my mind.
Expansion, my friend, expansion. We're going to grow this thing.
I just can't wait until we have Steam Trail Wars or the Trail Wars, where people start going, no, like our guild is a better name, and like it'll be interesting. I'm the king of this trail.
Okay, that's pretty good, man.
Well, you never know. You have people who disagree on certain topics in a trail. There's a lot of stuff that can go on. There are a lot of people who can. You never know when you have a multi-millionaire who comes on and he's like, I want to be the king of the gardening trail, so I'm going to buy a bunch of Steam power.
Well, that's interesting you say that is, as far as running that, I mean, this is where we get into the community and the voting and all those aspects, and we kind of implement those within the trail. So a consensus has to be reached whether or not they want a dictator or not. You know what I mean? So
good way of doing it.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we can deal with that there. But very interesting. Yeah,
well, we won't talk about that too much because we still want that guy to go buy all that Steam power.
Yeah, we'll break the news to him a little bit later. Like, oh yeah, we actually have a voting system. Yeah, we have a voting system in place now, so you can vote. But yeah, I got you, man.
Where is it? That would be something to end on.
Graphene 2.0.
Oh, you mean via the voting on Steam?
Yes.
Chain?
Yeah.
Okay, well that guy can still can still get a lot of Steam power then, huh?
No harm in that.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's part of the game, isn't it? Okay, well, thank you very much for joining up and talking about it, man, because this is something that a lot of people should know about it, especially since we do talk a lot about Steam here, but we don't really necessarily talk about the stuff that is always noob friendly. So people who are listening who are maybe new, it's a good thing for them to know about. And even for people who do know a lot about the ecosystem, but it's still a beneficial thing for them to look into.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for having me, bud.
With that said, Virtual Growth of SteemPrentice is going to be talking today And you also brought the Steam Power Twins. Is that correct, or are they not currently here?
Why is the impression the Steam Power Twins are coming? Because that's not official at all.
Oh, because I saw that it said something about that on the RSVP thread.
That was just pinned on the Twitter page in the picture, maybe?
Where did I get that? No, I could have swore that I saw that because you know how you sometimes bring on people to talk.
I just mentioned a post about what they did with Steam Sports and cans of food to the shelter.
Oh, my apologies.
That's okay. I can talk to them if you want. They might want to at one point, but not right now.
No, well, because you bring on guests of your own, which is ironically what I often told people to do is refer guests. People that they think deserve to be getting some credit. And you actually do that quite a bit. So I suspect that for some reason, I thought that you were going to do it.
I haven't actually asked them.
But I actually thought I had good reason, but it must have been something where I looked at it and thought and read it wrong. But anyway, yeah, because you did post some stuff with them. I do know that.
I talked to them a little bit on Discord chat, but yes.
Let's go ahead and so we make it easy on the editing. Virtual Growth here is from SteemPrentice, and he's going to be talking about a few different initiatives that he's running. So why don't you go ahead and step up Virtual Growth and talk a little bit about it, and we'll get to talking a little bit more about the other stuff after during the after party.
Sounds good. The regular SteemPrentice channel is up to 267 members. That was what I originally joined Psycho Chica with. I've evolved into starting a crowd guild, which I will post a link with shortly. We've been going for about 1 week, raised about 3,000 Steam. Thanks to Once Upon a Time, who invested 1,000 as our largest current investor, and Instructor 21 as well, and numerous others. Yesterday, we made a payment to our most valuable posters, keeping track of curation awards recently, and giving them a reward as incentive to curate better content. And then we give them 100% voting power because we have to scale it in order to vote for everybody. And others have voted less, and that's partially takes into account their recent performance and the curation. That way, we're voting for stuff that is worth more Steam to us, so we give more Steam to our investors and members, essentially. The value has grown about 1% in 1 week, which is decent for just starting. We're going to do monthly dividends. The curation value is we're going to take and divide it into sections. 50% will be issued as a dividend to give people a return on their investment. You will be able to sell your investment to get back your initial donation. So you'll have shares. Originally, there were 10 Steam. Now it's approximately 10.1 Steam. I'm just going to look at the post to read a couple of other things for a moment. It's been going for 10 days now. We have 70 members, so it's off to a good start.
You certainly have a lot of stuff going on with that. I've noticed that you've been posting about it.
I'll try to keep people updated, and if people like information. So total current holding is 2,866 Steam. I keep about 10% of that in just regular Steam, just in case SteemPrentice wants to do something else, because sometimes you do other projects, or just if somebody wants to cash out, or just whatever. I'm not really sure. Can be flexible with certain ideas. It's all kind of a new experiment. No. Some people have asked about manual curation as well. ATS David recently made a post about offering to curate people. He's on the Steemian. He is actually also one of the highest rated curators, and he's the highest curator on the Steemian that you can follow. So we've tried to do that. The SteemPrentice voting power during this experiment fell to about 60%. So we're doing a lot of voting. So I started adjusting all the other voting to get that higher again as we work out a balance and see what kind of value. But it's been a lot of good curation here too, to add to the steam power of the guild itself, which benefits everybody that's a member.
Mm-hmm.
Steam Prentice is also now on the Steam Trail. Well, not trail. Streamium. If anybody wants to follow through Streamium to vote for the same things, they can. However, there's a lot of votes, so it will be diluted. So that's not the best. People can try it out and turn it off. Like turn it on and turn it off is suggested for that at the moment. Otherwise, I post the top people, Bola, Alec Crab, Nitty by Nature, and Ace 108 were our most valuable posters of the week, essentially. They earned from 2.5 to about 10 Steam each as a bonus for that. And that is to create an incentive so that people will create better content within the guild itself. And because that's one of people's things has been an issue, is what about people just buying in for their votes? Well, we're allowing for that too, and people are going to get a 10% vote as opposed. So they still get a vote, which helps lower people such as the minnows. And then we have bigger minnows and dolphins who produce in better content, so we can give them value. And then the curation can be shared with everybody through shares, which are, initial one will be 10 Steam, and then additional ones will be, the price will be 10 to 10.1 Steam. I don't know how that's going to balance out exactly at the moment, but I post that information. And everybody who has a share is going to get a dividend at the end of the month. I'm going to pause if anybody has to say anything or any questions.
Yeah, I have plenty to say, but I would love to hear what other people have to say. I will continue allowing these silences for that.
In the post, I also post recent votes and recent curation values just to give other updated information so people have an understanding of everything.
Well, I personally will say that I love the fact that I'm seeing all these different experiments with the guilds, and how that's going to be working out, especially like when people come together to put together their steam power into a pool of pooled steam power. Those are the types of things that I think are really going to enable some powerful things within the Steam ecosystem that a lot of people who might be detractors of Steam's value because of the whale problem. I think that this type of stuff significantly helps because ironically, it's like it enables naturally these smaller sea creatures to form schools and effectively get the power in numbers. So it's really cool to see that this stuff is going forward, man.
Recently, the SteemBets account was purchased sale, and I purchased that to continue what I started with the game on voting on cryptocurrencies, price movements as a way to learn about cryptocurrencies. Plus, I'm posting a weekly chart so people can see the daily, weekly changes. Because a lot of people have trouble understanding that, and this is a fun way to learn about it. I've done BitShares, I actually did as well, Monero, Steem, Bitcoin, and Ethereum.
So how do people participate in that?
Voting on the main post and voting on up or down for that cryptocurrency of whatever they choose. Similar format to Steam Sports.
Now, do you say like a percentage of how much it's going to go up or down, or just up or down? And is it going to be like on a daily basis, a weekly basis? How do you plan on doing that?
I'm just doing it on a daily basis right now. I've decided to use CoinGecko because they price a chart and they have daily prices, so we can use the daily prices as a pinpoint, because that's the thing, all these charts and different time zones and everything else gets a little confusing. I was trying to think of a way to do that. I like CoinGecko too. I use that on a Steamland website for the prices of the different cryptocurrencies with their widgets. And Steamland, I'm going to open by the end of the month for a 1-month trial and get a whole simulation, a whole sim, and build like a casino that people can play with Bitcoin and give people a bonus for using Steam for going there. And then people who visit the casino, because games is just something that works in YR Grid and with people in general, and maybe just go approach people outside of Steam in a different avenue, and then just use the other area and introduce people to Steam and maybe attract new people.
Yeah, I think that it's cool that you talked to you a little bit about that at some point in time. So remind me that on Steam at Chat, that would be something that we should talk about.
Sure, do that sometime.
Now, does anybody have any questions, comments? Out of curiosity, I will ask you, how much has been paid out so far for the betting on the cryptocurrency? Do you know?
I don't have it in a table right now. I started doing that. It's about $50 or so, approximately. I'm paying out 50% of Steam Dollar in Steam currently. I still owe money to a developer for a script. And once that's paid off, we're going to increase it a little bit as momentum increases. The ones who were just started on SteemBets are already up to a little less than 200 participant voters per main post, and the ones on the game account are up to about 300. So it's slowly growing and gaining attention.
Awesome. Well, yeah, there are going to be some things I can't really talk about right now, but I do want to talk to you about some of this stuff. Because
of course, as we've said numerous times.
Yeah. There's tools that we need that we are building that once available, it'll make things like this pretty awesome. And hopefully we'll bring a lot more people back to the BitShares talk forums too. But I won't go too much further into it other than to say that, because this isn't for me, this is for you. However, know that you might have a secret weapon, and the BitShares is a ridiculous low price right now. So once I think once people start using, like people like you start using tokens, we're going to see a lot of cool things going on, man.
Yeah, I plan on using tokens. I have a few different ideas. I'm just trying to fine tune it before I present it and do that. I'm looking for feedback as well, so I'd appreciate that sometime, just to mention.
Yeah, well, we can go ahead and you're posting it under the Beyond Bitcoin tag too, I think, because I'm pretty sure I upvoted those things.
Yeah, I do with some of the stuff, because that's what Steamland is why our grid is Bitcoin, and then I want to go beyond Bitcoin, similar idea. Yeah.
I'll have to go ahead and I'll make it a point to start making some comments in there.
Okay, I just want to mention one other thing. I'm going to post a link to Winston Wolf's idea of a video of 1 second per Steemium. He did this for his year last year. He did 1 second for every single day for a whole video to explain himself. And he has the idea he wants to do that with Steam. He's accepting videos if anybody is interested in making one and sending it to submit to add to the video that he's going to do sometime for the new year. He's thinking he has a deadline there. I'd have to look at it to see what it is. Well, people can go and look.
Yeah, I really liked that project, man. Now, do you know, did he say if we're going to be able to have people post their actual Steam names?
Yes, he's going to take the Steam names and put them onto those segments.
That's cool. So it's advertising if anybody's doing something.
Exactly, and it's a very cool idea. I talked to him on Discord. He's actually one of the members on the Steam podcast, the Steam It Talk podcast. I'm usually there every week. They get guests as well. They had William Banks last week about the Viva coin, which was very interesting. I don't know how many people or if anybody knows about that coin. It's a basic income type of thing.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting model. And then when people do things helpful to the community, you earn credit in the system, and then you can use that and give it to other people. It's a very giving concept.
Yeah, that's the kind of idea of giving a community away to people.
Exactly. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. And we can definitely touch base more afterwards, another time.
Sounds good, man. I will say this, that I'm supposed to, and barring any tragic things, I should have some stuff done for passing out tokens and things. So we might be able to, it should be this week, very latest next week. And I will inform you when that happens.
That would be great, because that's the other aspect. When you have tokens, is a way to give them out and stuff and manage that, as you know, and have been looking at.
Oh man, I've been foaming at the mouth for everybody here knows that's, you probably realize it yourself, broken record on this subject.
Nope, I have a hearing problem. I missed it. Oh wait, maybe not.
Yeah, imagine some people have been hearing this for 3 years. That's why, man, like, once people are able to pass around these tokens, it's BitShares is going to go up. I recommend everybody consider being their own tokens or guild tokens on BitShares for when this thing is done, though. And if anybody here would like to help anybody who is interested, feel free to post your name here. I will help people if they want to, but I'm not an advanced token creator. Okay, well, thank you very much, Virtual Growth. Would you like to just give everybody a way of contacting you if they are interested in working with you on any of these projects or have questions regarding any of them?
I can be contacted on Gmail or Steam at chat.
Okay, and is it Virtual Growth at Gmail?
That is correct.
Oh, well, that's a pretty good catch. I'd have imagined somebody would have gotten that by now. I guess you're the first one.
I got Virtual Growth all over the place years ago.
Oh, you were out setting up your flags on the land that is yours, huh? Staking the claim.
That's 7 years in the making.
Brand recognition, yo. Good point, Peps. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the Hangout here, and we're going to go ahead and move into the after party, since we've covered the people who wanted to talk today about their projects. And I would like to ask people if we could talk a little bit about the concept of fake news. This topic has popped up on the internet all over the place. I'm seeing it. A lot of it is, of course, with respect to Gate, but a lot of it is also, it seems like it's directed toward Tea Party type of people, or people who are just in college and creating their own content. People like us who are creating our own content. This stuff might be considered fake news to a lot of people. So the question that I wanted to ask is, what do you guys think about this whole concept of fake news? I'll withdraw my opinion for the moment and just see what everybody else wants to bring up about it.
Well, it's not fake news. It's the truth, and it's being used to obscure truths that people don't want known. That's all, in my mind.
So you think that it might be a kind of propaganda mechanism for dissuading people from looking at certain stories or certain kinds of coverage that is not the type of stuff that they want the population looking at?
That's exactly what it is.
I hate to take it in this direction, but the term psyop would seem to fit really, really well.
It's the new conspiracy theory, which is a term that the CIA came up with back in the 60s to discredit people. Now it's fake news.
Conspiracy theory. It's also it's a starting point of a list that the places like Reddit and Facebook will use to guide their censorship.
Oh,
well, it's interesting.
Ken, good point.
It's the start of having
something. Oh, go ahead.
It's the start of having to have a license to practice journalism.
That's too. All these things are, if it's so funny they called it, and the meme became fake news because it's so easy to prove how the mainstream news media sites are the fake news sites. I mean, it's easy. James Corbett's done a fantastic job of highlighting that fact.
James Corbett is excellent. He's like the opposite of fake news, totally.
Exactly.
I'm concerned.
But you have...
Sorry. I'm concerned with lots of these weird pushes that like the not so mainstream media is doing, like things that we've turned to. Let's say, for an easy example, last week tonight with John Oliver, HBO, huge Hillary donor, pretty obvious where their fucking shit lies, right? Less obvious, you got like Adam Ruins Everything, Redacted Tonight. Those are things that I've turned to as, quote, alternative media sources. Find out Adam Ruins Everything. It's on True TV. Chelsea Clinton is on the fucking board of True TV. Okay. Redacted Tonight told me a thing, hey, you don't have to floss anymore. Like, that's news? Okay, so now from Adam Ruins Everything and Redacted Tonight, I've heard, don't use mouthwash. You don't have to floss. Soap is unnecessary. There's like some weird Q-tips. Don't use Q-tips. And all in like the past few months. So there's this weird, I think there's a weird anti-information thing. Like, see, you guys will believe anything. We told you to not hygienic and blah, blah, blah. You can't trust it with your own thoughts, obviously. Some kind of crap like that.
Yeah.
It's a straw man. I mean, all they're doing is putting out these ridiculously fake things, and then they're going to point at it and say, see, this is what we told you. It's a fake news. You can't listen to that crap, and it's their own making. Hegelian dialectic.
I think everything is a reaction to Reddit's subreddit, The Donald, which grew to a couple 100,000 people and got Pizzagate started. And for a lot of people, it's not so much about Trump anymore, but it's about a couple 100,000 people starting down the rabbit hole of looking into different things. And they don't know how to deal with that many in just the last year, all coming aboard into actually starting to think.
Well, I call Pizzagate, if it's true, which I won't lie, I haven't seen anything that's absolutely like smoking gun evidence, but I've seen so much stuff that, statistically speaking, if you just add it all up, I just can't see it not adding up like to another level of stuff that's going on that we just have perfect evidence. But I always call it, if it is this, it's the sex ring to rule them all, really,
I don't know about Pizza Shop, but the Madeleine McCann abduction and those sketches of the Podesta brothers and some of that other evidence there, that looks pretty damning.
And there was evidence that the Clintons got somebody off for trying to steal 34 children from Haiti after the big
earthquake
disaster that they had over there. I don't think it was an earthquake. I think it was when this happened. I know that the earthquake happened, but I think that it was like a tsunami or something, or a typhoon. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of interesting on that one.
The big picture on fake news is a word that hardly anybody knows what it means, yet it's very important. Epistemology. How do you know what's real, period? And credibility, which does to me come down to small teams, and when there was a lot more competition in news as opposed to just 5 or 6 corporate outlets, corporations are kind of inherently less credible because they're taking favors from the government. So building up credibility is going to be about small news teams like the Corbett Report, and doing your stuff on a blockchain. We can use this to start building new credible organizations of small teams.
That's a key concept of building an alternative so that the old mainstream crap is made obsolete. That's a meme that is catching fire, and I think a lot of people are taking that under their belt and running with it.
Well, what do you think about all these people, real quick? What do you think about all these people who are out there who are working on stuff like Pizzagate, who got kicked off of Reddit? And I see somebody like David Seaman, who knows about cryptocurrency, is aware of Steem, and I don't know why he's not saying, he's telling people to go to this vote.co, and it's Bitcoin friendly, which means I think that they're going to accept Bitcoin at some point in time, but they're not posting to a blockchain. So they're already going into the hands of another centralized service that can, that could censor them if it was approached and forced to. So, I find myself wondering, like, what do you guys think about this? Because this is kind of just, I watch it and I'm thinking to myself, Steem or logging it on the blockchain is the alternative that you guys are talking about.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there is one thing that may be impacting some of these people in terms of their choice to move on to a blockchain-based piece of technology to get their word out or not, and that is just how many blockchain projects are truly decentralized at this stage of the game. One question I raised about Steem recently was how they made the decision to change the power down time frame. I don't know how they did that. They didn't put out an article and say, if you vote for this article, you're for it. If you vote for this article, you're against it. They've just decided to do it. And so we went through this in BitShares as well, and who is truly in control. And if it's truly the community
but
that's
they can't
in control.
Take the data away, though.
Well, they could. If they decided to do it, they could mute it, but they could make it immutable. They can make it mutable, not immutable, if they wanted to take something out. But they're not doing that, and that should lend to the reputation of how credible their management of the currently centralized source is. It's not totally centralized like most places are, but there are centralization characteristics that are in place because it hasn't grown big enough to make it decentralized yet.
I basically agree with you, but I think perhaps the witnesses had to vote that in. So I don't think it was just totally Dan and Ned.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't claim that it was only just a couple of individuals, but I think that, as you saw in BitShares, when Dan made a move that we're going to move a decision that we're going to move in a certain direction, most witnesses followed along. There wasn't too many places where witnesses know we're not going to do that. That just hasn't happened because it's too early for that.
I think that they would receive a lot more pushback on something like censorship on.
You're right.
The blockchain.
Indeed, they would.
I know I would be giving it.
Well, and
you can guarantee that I'd be like, go ahead for that.
Well, just with the recent changes, I think it's pretty notable that anybody can download the source, even though there is some centralized management of the source code. Anybody can download it, and at that time, they could have forked the chain if they wanted to.
Well, you make that claim, and it's certainly technically true, but there are not that many people that are capable of ramping up a whole other copy of a blockchain. I don't care which blockchain you're talking about. There's a lot involved, and when you're talking about a graphene-based blockchain, there's a lot that needs to happen to make it a viable alternative. You got witnesses that you got to ramp up, lots of infrastructure that has to be put out there. So I don't think that's as a quick a solution to this type of thing as you might think it is.
No. I wouldn't for a second suggest that it's quick. Yes, making a new blockchain is.
If you got a big name like David Seaman and James Corbett to create one specifically for news, that would be something.
Who are these guys, and why would they be suitable for a news-oriented blockchain?
James Corbett is the Corbett Report, and he's highly credible. I think you'll really enjoy his stuff if you haven't checked it out before. David Seaman was working for the Huffington Post. He's not as libertarian as most of us here, but he's an open-minded guy, and he was doing reporting on Hillary Clinton's health problems, and he got fired from the Huffington Post, and that's kind of sent him down the rabbit hole, and now he's looking at Pizzagate.
Well, it's a hell of a rabbit hole, isn't it? Between WikiLeaks and running a candidate who often looked half dead and pushing Sanders out. The rabbit hole looks to go really deep on this one. And hopefully there won't be a Democratic Party next time. I kind of feel the same way about the Republican Party too, though, because they started the Iraq War. Fuck them.
What we need is what Gerald Celente called direct democracy, something closer to direct democracy, and I think like this.
Well,
Right now
democracy
we
is
have blockchain.
democracy. The longest lasting democracy was less than 70 years. It's not the actual correct answer, but
True. But
Well,
but it's
but
like
what I'm
he said,
saying is
closer
this,
to it, not literally a direct democracy, because everybody
yeah.
agrees that would not be good.
Well, yeah, it just can't work. It's not efficient enough. So what I think is like giving proxy voting, right? Like for instance, Tom, you might be an expert at a specific thing that I don't want to focus on, but I know that you have a philosophy that's very similar to mine in terms of the politics and, what role government should have in one's life and things like that. And I can be like, you know what? I'm going to give you my proxy votes on all of this subject matter that you are an expert on, and you could even have your own blog where you talk about what you think about these different topics, and people can, pay attention to it and see what you're doing, and there's transparency there, right? So they can kind of keep up with the people who are voting for their best interests in certain spheres where they're not experts. But then the other side of the equation is that I might be an expert in certain things that people want me to vote on for them, so I think that is something that we can do, and we can log it to a blockchain, so it's all there, and you can do it from a cell phone, get a notification. Oh, there's a bill for people to create, to pass Obama. Do you guys, does all the population want to, to tie into that? You could even have systems where there's subgroups within a country that, they can be part of a system like Obamacare if they want to or not, and vote within their, there's a lot of different cool things that we can test and try now that we have this kind of database structure.
Well, true enough.
I mean, who knows if any of them are going to work well? We'll see.
Also,
what we can be certain of is that it's going to be a hell of a lot better than this craziness where people want vote recounts, but they don't even keep paper ballots. It's like anybody who's read about Diebold knows. But back on to the fake news train, because that was something that really I think if you go on Steam it right now, Pizzagate's one of the top trending tags. It's in the top 4 right now, and because of this fake news and censorship, because of that came from the fake news push, or along with that push, you're seeing a lot of people who are coming from these different places to a blockchain to post. So let's hope that doesn't ever become mutable where they can change it.
Let's hope that. I mean, it's not very likely that it will. That's the whole benefit of the blockchain technology, is it's extremely difficult to defeat, and that's what got them running scared. I mean, there's a major shift in the minds of a lot of people right now going on, and it's great to see. I mean, this election has been quite the catalyst in waking people up to what's really going on, and it's going to explode. And I think we're right on the knee of that monstrous growth that we're going to see in how people exercise their own individualism to express themselves and to move things along in a way that will benefit everybody.
Well, do me a favor, Tom. This is something that I'm really considering doing here, okay? And this is why everybody should be considering buying BTS. I'm not, this is not investment advice, of course. What if I reach out, because I sent something to James Corbett last night.
Good for you.
Asking him if he would like to join up for a hangout to talk about some stuff along the lines of fake news, actually. Because when I was listening to James Corbett, I highly respect him. I've always respected him. He's a very intelligent, thorough person. He's a lot more thorough than most people I listen to. And he's highly knowledgeable in a lot of different areas. But he was looking at the Pizzagate thing as well.
He still is.
And he said, yeah, and he said that he was going to start this crowd research thing.
Open source investigation.
Uh-huh.
It's called open source investigation. He's done this on a number of topics, and Pizzagate's the most recent.
Yes. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have to. I didn't send this full email. I just asked him if he wanted to get on here. But if he says yes, I might be asking him if he wants to. I created something called Pizza Coin yesterday. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to get some of these top investigators on the subject on both sides, people who disagree and people who agree, and pass these tokens out to them. And I also would like, if somebody can help me with this part, it would be wonderful. And I could actually, we could announce it on Steam and give you all the funds, and I could, even donate some of my own funds toward it. Not a whole lot, because I'm running low these days since S ain't flown into the pocket as easily. But I will say that, if we can have something where the top 2 posts under the Pizzagate tag every day get a pizza coin, and then every month we have a hangout with people like James Corbett, and the people who have the pizza coins are the ones who are allowed entry, then we can have, a special hangout for that, and that'll give that coin value. And it'll just be something that people can pass around as, being somebody who's earned the coins for creating good content or by being a guest speaker in these things. And I think that this is a model that can bring up for something that would, we're backing the value of these tokens with people, with the fame, quote unquote fame, of people like James Corbett, right? So if I can organize a hangout with him, wouldn't a token like that or a ticket be valuable to people? I would say probably.
I'm kind of curious in how you pitched your invitation to Corbett to come on, and what did you do to entice him?
Oh, I've sent him so many emails in the past, so he probably knows me.
Okay.
So I just said, this is Fuzzy from BitShares and Beyond Bitcoin.
And does he have you told him about how many users typically visit your Hangouts and things of that? Because, I'm sure that I'm just guessing, but if I was in his position, I would say, well, I want to reach as many people as I can. So let me spend my time wisely and go for those people that have the type of audience that I want to reach. And this would certainly be one of them. But how many people are going to be in each of those locations? That's if your site only has 120 people coming, that may not be enough to entice them to come versus a site that has 100 or 250 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe I should tell him the numbers, because we have actually close to like 500 listens just over probably the past week.
Yeah, and then look at the statistics that you have on all of the Hangouts that you've published, on Steam and elsewhere. You've got a lot of history here, and if you can show how many listens there have been to all that media, that may be enough to really sway his opinion to come on board.
Well, this is actually going off onto a slightly different subject, though. But I will say that whenever we tokenify these things and we show, like, for instance, maybe I should just ask, because I didn't want to go too deep into Pizza Coin until I have the logo made. You guys are going to love the logo, by the way, because I know what I'm going to do. But my photoshopping skills have gotten so much better since I've been in crypto. Say that, but
mine too.
We're gonna make that. Yeah, right. We're gonna make that pizza coin, and I think that we can also use the same mechanisms to pass out tokens for stuff like Beyond Bitcoin too. So I think if we can give him some tokens and say, pass them out to whoever has helped you in the past, and you can do it by sending them a link using ShareBits, for instance, and we can we can accept those tokens for a special hangout for you. I think if we can do that, I think people like James Corbett will be like very interested in it.
Fuzzy, I just thought you should know that ChangeTip has gone out of business, and Nick Sullivan might open source some of this stuff, and he also might have some lists that you might be able to use. So you might want to contact him.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, except for them going out of business. That sucks for them.
Well, they actually are not going out of business. They have been bought out. Like their entire development team was hired by Airbnb, I believe.
Yeah, but they're shutting their doors, I think, as of December 1st, actually. So well, they're gone. There's no ChangeTip. You can't use that service anymore. So, but he still has some software, which may not be too important since it's a centralized version. But he does have lists, and he has history, and he has monikers that people have created, like me, that might want to get them revived on some other platform.
That's a great idea. I wonder how I would contact this guy.
I know he's a Reddit user. I think his name is Nick Sullivan.
Nick Sullivan, huh? Virtual growth. Pizza coin, of course you did. Yeah, I had to, dude. This is the thing, like I want people to start seeing the value of just simple UIAs, especially when it's on a graphene chain like this,
Yes, of course.
Passing out these new assets. Oh, no. So passing out these new assets is, how do you put this? It's an unprecedented power.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty notable because nobody really knows what these things are yet in terms of what they mean to people. It's kind of like a stock. It's kind of like money. It's kind of like membership in a club. It's kind of like a server network. It's kind of like a database too. It's kind of like a business. What's that?
It's like kind of like everything in a working economy.
Yeah, basically. And the fact that, just for example, you're mentioning how a graphene chain or a DPoS chain makes UIAs more powerful, and sure as hell does, because what you don't need to do is set up the blockchain infrastructure, which, as you know, that's the vast majority of the work when you're making new chain. You were able to just, how many bit shares did you pay for your UIA?
7,000.
He paid 7,000 Bitcoins, and he had, a provably accurate virtual asset system built. And I think that's kind of what's notable about BitShares in general, in fact. And I don't know if there are that many people remaining, but I'm real curious about the current state of BitShares in terms of the code. And I don't know if there's anybody here who can speak to that, but I'd love to hear about it.
I know Vikram and a few other people are really working hard on getting a worker proposal to keep updating and adding new things. And I know that Ken Code and PeerPlays and even Ronnie now is starting to do some stuff that will be eventually open sourced.
Now, and BlockPay. Sorry, no. What's Ken's some other pay thing, or is it BlockPay?
It's BlockPay.
No,
He posted.
It's BlockPay. Okay.
He posted an update to it earlier. He said he wasn't going to be able to stay, so he posted a link. If you go up in the chat, if you've got that history, I can repost it if necessary.
Oh, I've got the history. Thank you.
Yeah, BlockPay is planning on doing a lot of stuff, and I can't wait until Stealth is done. That's going to be a big one. That's what's blowing my mind is that BitShares is actually like a lower price than it should be right now.
Well, buying opportunity anyway.
You know what I was thinking about doing was getting a worker proposal done to run a hackathon to create like the best, the coolest wallet user interface for BitShares.
That would be good. And Data Security Note, are you still here?
Wow, he's not.
Okay,
Wow, he's normally here.
That's unusual. Anyway, what are we doing with PeerPlays and the vowels, buying vowels? It's user hostile.
Buying vowels?
Yeah, I went to PeerPlays this evening when he was on the show, and it asked me to create a premium username, otherwise I couldn't use vowels. I just want to say, that's a bad idea on BitShares, and it's a bad idea on PeerPlays. It's
an interesting thing. I don't know why it is that way.
way.
I remember there was a reason why ByteMaster said that it had to be that way. That was a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what it was. Does anybody here know?
I tell you that on the back end, you can create whatever you want.
Yeah, there was a reason why I'm sure that if you would have listened, you'd go, oh, well, you would either say, oh, well, there's a way around that, or, oh, but either way, you would recognize it as, oh, wait, this, that makes sense that he would think that, you know what I mean?
I think it was name squatting.
I don't remember exactly what it was, though.
Name squatting?
Right, but,
I don't
think that was it.
Well, yeah, there was a lot. Remember that guy early on, just after Steam was announced, this guy bought up tons and tons of names, and he changed he was conforming to the rules, but but ByteMaster recognized the potential problem, and so he changed the rules so that it was basically the way people, what's the term I'm looking for, where basically you, I can't remember the term, but it's basically we have to pay a fee because otherwise you're gonna end up spamming not really sock puppet.
It's name squatting, like domain name squatting. You just buy a domain name not really to use it, but to resell it later.
Yeah, but why do transactions have fees? That's really what I'm getting at, the concept. It's so you don't spam the transaction. You don't put out a bunch of junk because it's cheap and easy to do. That's what you're trying. And when it comes to account names, that's very expensive for BitShares on any graphene. The more accounts you have, the more memory it takes to run the chain. And so he was seeing in advance that if it was really easy to get accounts, and this guy had already created several thousand accounts, it was still in the process of generating more, that by the time graphene was ready to be released, that would take so much memory to get it off the ground. So he recognized that right off the bat and got off at the knees.
Oh, wow, that's okay.
Because it's a database, and so there has to be some rate limiting function. But you think that's why you have to buy vowels on usernames? Because if I were going to go high rate on anything, I would do it on the back, not the front. Yep.
Well, it was just a way of categorizing certain usernames as being premium versus non-premium, and I don't know how
the premium are highly expensive.
Right, and I'm not sure whether or not that flushed out very well in the final version of of Graphene, to where the premium names really amounted to very much in terms of marketing effort.
You don't have to buy vowels.
They haven't yet, but I think that once you start seeing people, use it'll become a different story.
Takanato's got it right. You don't have to buy vowels. You just have to add a dash in your name somewhere.
Well, yes. Yeah, but my username is FADDAT.
But there's also a length. You have to have a certain number of characters for it to work.
-dat.
Well, yeah.
If it's less than 8 characters, it's considered premium.
Well, my entire point is that I think it dissuades a lot of people from ever creating an account. I eventually did get an account created, and I did it from the back end, but I don't know, it's really annoying.
Yeah, I don't know how we would fix that if that's the answer.
The way to fix it is just change the front end. Because if you can do it from the back end, the front end is what accesses the back end, meaning the front end code is just fucked up.
Yeah, but you can do it for that, is what we're saying. It's just that it costs money.
How do I do it, though? I don't even know how I do it.
Instead of it, here's an idea. Instead of it costing money when you first register, if you want a premium name, it could take out a transaction fee that's higher for your first several transactions, but not cost you anything up front.
That would be fine. Like, I haven't been able to find any document saying how to buy a premium name on the way in either. It's something that, like, well, I really hope that PeerPlays chooses to change it, because I think it sends the wrong message on the way in. Very wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The question is,
I just told you.
I mean, how do you beat the problem?
I just came up with the answer.
Well, I couldn't hear you. My apologies. That's what I was typing in. I think my internet was dying. I just started
the answer is you don't charge up front for a premium name. You just take it out of future transaction fees over time.
But the way that the back end works kind of indicates that it never mattered. It's not a thing that mattered. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it on the back end for no cost.
Well, there's very few people that will use the back end to do things compared to the front end, obviously, with the GUI. So if you're going to worry about spamming and that type of thing of the namespace and corruption of that, you're going to be concerned about the front end. So if you limit the capability of using that on the front end, even if it's available on the back end, there will be a few people that maybe could use that loophole and generate a bunch of names. But generally speaking, that's not going to create the same problem as it would as if you opened it up widely on the front end. But I think you're right that there has been no really marketing effort or function of premium names, non-premium names, and how this is going to impact the finances and the distribution of funds in the ecosystem. So yeah, it's probably a dead feature, a dead characteristic that is probably not very important to emphasize any longer.
Yeah, I would think so. And actually, I don't know, man, because most spammers tend to also be coders, and I'll tell you, I can do a hell of a lot more damage than the average front end user, and I can do it in a hell of a lot less time.
Well, that's true.
And so, I just don't think there's an issue there at all. But I don't even understand. I'm not saying like, oh, it's a scam or anything like that. It's just, I don't know why it's there.
Well, I think the reason it was there was they had, or this was a design characteristic that was done early in the development of graphene, and they were just thinking, how can we make some money? How can we market this thing? Well, let's have premium accounts that you pay more for and have lesser accounts that everybody has that's cheaper. That's probably what they had in mind. That's my guess.
It makes sense to me. It's like a premium domain.
Exactly.
It would be kind of like saying, I want Google. And that's a premium name, but that's, if Google wants to get onto BitShares, then they will pay me for that. But the thing is, that works whenever you have a huge user base, but when you don't, I can understand kind of what Fadat's saying too.
Yeah, I can see both sides of the perspective, but you do have to recognize that for whatever their approach and their ideology behind why they did it the way they did it, it certainly limited. There wasn't a whole lot of people picking up names like Google and Microsoft on there that were just squatting to sell them later. The guy that did the 5,000 or whatever names that he did in advance of changing the rules, I think had that in mind, but he cut that off so that was no longer a problem. So if you wanted a name like Google, you're going to have to put up a lot of money and justify that in some fashion that is going to be costly to you. But he did. There are a lot of things in the way names are created and whether or not there's an identity as such. There's a lot of things about how you get registered in the graphene blockchain that they've rethought out in terms of Steem, because they created the Facebook easy to log in type of thing, create your account through that mechanism. But there's a lot of marketing characteristics that needs to be thought out better in terms of how we have an invitation, how we have a gate for people to come in.
Well, I think Fadat had a good point, and I think maybe I came up with a solution, and then the important thing would be to make sure Jonathan or Michael hear about it. And the solution specifically being you can create any name you want, but if it's what we today consider a premium name, it will cost something that's taken out of transaction fees over time. And to prevent the spamming problem, if you don't use the name and pay the transaction fees after a certain period, you lose it.
Well, now the transaction fees are one thing I'm not sure I'm understanding what you have in mind there, because the transaction fees are a collective payment, whereas this should be whatever payment that you would or penalty that a name user would have should be on that user, not distributed collectively across the whole ecosystem.
I'm thinking bit shares, and maybe not PeerPlays. In bit shares, if I do something and there's a transaction fee, that's not collective. That's me paying it. So I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, if it's a fee-backed asset, I agree with you. But if it's not, if you're just talking transaction fees in general, then are transaction fees that somebody else makes going to be impacted by your premium namespace that you're doing, and how does that affect you individually?
Yeah, it's not quite following you. It's just if I do a transaction that would normally just incur a transaction fee to me, it's going to be slightly higher to pay for my premium name. And to prevent the name squatting, I can't just buy a bunch of names and then never use them. I actually have to use them and pay that extra fee as an extra on my transaction fees in a certain period of time, or I lose the name. I think that combination takes care of it.
I think I understand a little better now. So you would basically, initially when you bought a premium name, your transaction fees are higher, but then after a certain period of time of you being involved in using the name, then maybe those fees would drop off or minimize, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, you would pay off for the premium name, and you would no longer pay the extra transaction fee. But if you just get 1,000 names, hoping that one becomes useful someday, and you don't actually use those accounts, you're going to lose them after a certain period of time.
While you're paying the fees of the higher price. I can see how that could work pretty well. Another thing that comes to mind is there was a little bit of name squatting or sock puppets is a better word for it in the Steam community. There was somebody that claimed to be Molyneux or somebody famous, and they didn't last very long. Their reputations suffered, and I think that was probably the safety net in Steam that prohibits a lot of this squatting kind of crap.
Well, I think it's about time for me to get off here today and go start reading some fake news.
Well, I would talk a lot more, but for some reason, my internet connection is really doing some dirty for me here right now. But I will ask that anybody who is here before you leave, consider. I'm a whale here on Steemit, and I know a lot of people are posting content to be on Bitcoin and making a decent bit of money off of it. So please consider adding the tag to that. And if there's anything that you guys are doing, let me help pay you, and let me help you guys as well. This is one of the first times I can actually do that. So make sure that I know about it. You know what I mean? And eventually, I would like to be passing out tokens, so if anybody wants to help with that stuff too, I will never be against it. Otherwise, you guys have yourselves a good one, and
before you get off, Fuzzy, just a thought occurred to me. I don't know if it'll be timely or useful or not, but when I come to visit you next February, is there anything I can do, bring you, or help with regard to your machine? I mean, I certainly have plenty of expertise in putting together machines and operating systems and all that kind of thing, if that will be useful to you.
I've been thinking about putting together a desktop. We're about to move out of this tiny apartment. I've been lucky enough to become a Steam whale which gave me enough money to pay to build a good bit of stuff. And it's also given me enough money to make my wife happy. So we're going to be getting a little house and moving out of our apartment. Once we do that, I'll probably have my own closet that I told my wife, the walk-in closet. She can have both. So I'm gonna get there, man.
All right, just thought I'd bring it up as a suggestion.
I do appreciate it, though. I mean, maybe if you have parts lying around or something, you can put one together. Maybe with those, then maybe I'll just buy it off of you.
No, I don't have anything that would be suitable for that. The parts I have on hand are not the latest greatest. So, but I do have some, but not enough to put a machine together with.
Well, it's all good, man. But I appreciate the offer.
All right, there's plenty of time before then, so never know what might pop up.
Sounds good. Hey, Fadat, do you know, you might be the best person to ask on this. Do you know an easy way of finding the top 3 posts on a tag every day for for a 24-hour period on
Sure,
Steam?
I could. Well, I mean, pretty much I have to code it, but it's not terribly hard. You want the top 3 each 24-hour period for every tag or one tag? Hello? Hello?
It would be awesome if people could use any tag they wanted, but yes. The reason why I'm saying that is because I've been really thinking about this. If you look at a specific tag in Steemit, right, and you have this community of people who are contributing to the tag and curating the 3 every day, you handed out like maybe 3, 2, and 1 tokens to them, and then those tokens are used to, gain entry into a special hangout. Well, now you're going to have essentially a hangout of people who are very knowledgeable in that tag's subject. So because they're going to be the ones who are upvoted highest, right? Or given a token by somebody who has been upvoted highest, maybe because they want you to join up and learn more, or but you're creating that kind of gravity by allowing the experts in a subject matter to earn these tokens, and then they can give them out to the people that they want to, or sell them however they want to, for the hangouts that they're running.
Yeah. So I'm working on a Qt application I'm working with Qt and Go. There's a new Qt library out for Go, and what I'm thinking is allow people to have an application that they download for Steam that allows them to do things like specify automated actions of various types, votes, etc., just with a comma-separated list. So it should work out for votes as well.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So you could kind of just put together an Excel spreadsheet and then use that to populate the CSL file?
You could do that, but actually I'm going to include like a nice clean interface for it. So like automatically upvote content from, and then a list of usernames, or, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing I'm building is it's a markdown editor with built-in submit to Steam.
Whoa.
Just to kind of streamline things. Steam is awesome, but I don't know about everybody. I've always preferred desktop applications and the responsiveness you get from it. So I was kind of giving that a poke. You can expect to see something on that
Very good idea.
in about the next month.
I know somebody that's actually working on a similar project for that if you're interested.
Worked on what? Probably I'm interested.
It's a desktop for Steemit.
Oh, really? Oh, who did that?
Is it Steemian?
Something. I'll fetch the name now. He actually does, he's done some scripting for me as well. You might be interested because he's already started it, so you'd have something to work with.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Xerox and Piston.
I'd love to see it, actually.
I'll get a link in a moment and post it. Go ahead and continue talking.
Okay. Well, so that's about it for me right now, really.
Xerox did Piston, which is a desktop application for Steam. But I don't know how different that yours is. I'm assuming it will be different from that.
Yeah, well, so Piston is written in Python, which is more of a scripting language, and it basically Piston uses an Electron GUI, which is a web page that's rendered only slightly differently from any old regular web page. It actually uses the Chrome engine to display it. And I'm writing a Qt UI, which it should look like any other application on your computer, in fact.
And you said that's going to be out in a month?
Yeah, I'd say thereabouts. Might be sooner, too. Depends how quickly things go. I've just gotten more conservative with my time estimates.
Yeah. You've learned the
Yeah.
The deal with coding on this. I'll tell you what, though, man, I'm really enjoying the idea of bringing on all these different people from services that have been censored.
Oh, that's huge. That's immense. If we
it's so huge.
If we manage to gather that crowd well, I think that's a major growth point for Steam at the least.
Well, to tell you the truth, Pizza Coin is kind of test coin for Beyond Bitcoin, the token, because if I can pass out the top Beyond Bitcoin token to the top 3 posts on the Beyond Bitcoin tag every day, and that's on the front page of the Beyond Bitcoin website, then people are going to have a hell of an incentive to write content for Beyond Bitcoin or create content for Beyond Bitcoin. So once you have that set up, you can start trying other things. Cool thing is with something like Pizza Coin, I can try all that stuff without touching Beyond Bitcoin. And I can reach out to people and like Corbett, who, it's the perfect example of, I think, a topic that you can get people to actually get up and stand up and move around because of it, so even people like Corbett, who might get a lot of people emailing them, if I have something substantive to say that he hasn't heard in any of his other emails, I think that he's going to say yes. So maybe I should rewrite. Maybe I should bother him again and say, here's my second email. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to give you 100 pizza coins, hand them out to the people who are helping you, and we're going to have a hangout, and only the people with these coins can get in.
It's an interesting idea.
Well, you think about it. If James Corbett is going to receive a bunch of coins and he can pass them out, then he can pass them out to the people who've donated to him in the past. So there's a way of him leveraging his following to kind of create a derivative of value base that of the value that following represents. Same thing with Steam, like with Steam Power. You say, I don't know why they changed it to 3 months. It kind of seems like a random. Tend to agree, but the more I'm thinking about it, it doesn't matter. If we find a way that people can create liquid value using their Steam Power. Because if I can create tokens that are backed by voting power of my account, now I'm essentially making liquid some of the value of that Steam Power.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're going to have fewer people powering down because they'll have an incentive to say, I'm not, my coin is worth more now because I'm not powering down. You can go and look and see I'm not powering down, right?
Well, I'm long on Steam. I think that it's going to be a very interesting transition, and I do have to say that I think that this should have been the start of a new chain, a revised Steam, because
I tend to agree with you.
It's very different now. The new mechanics.
I tend to agree with you.
It doesn't seem like
from the philosophical point of the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people joined up thinking that Steam Power was a commitment of sorts. In fact, I always really liked that feature of it. I understand how it generated controversy, but I think that was the point.
Yeah. It was supposed to incentivize people to put away a lot of Steam Power. If you have a problem with it, then you put away more Steam Power and become more powerful.
Yep.
That was a part of the game. Now, it's still there, and I really think that one of the things that we're doing, if we can have that, if Ontofractal ends up making this site where somebody can go and, get the votes of, a certain person by sending a URL along with your token. I think that just that little aspect could change a lot of this, though, and still force people to want to create a lot of the Steam Power accounts that back the token. I've actually thought, how cool would it be if, for instance, if I created Beyond Bitcoin tokens and I said, okay, go ahead and automatically upvote anything. Like you can join the voting pool, right? Like a pool of Steam Power holders that all of them put their votes toward whenever this token is sent in with a URL. And they all get their own tokens because they're part of the guild. And based on, how much Steam Power they give to the guild, they get X amount back. And they can use those for upvotes, or they can sell them to people who might want to use them for upvotes and things like that. I really don't think people realize yet. Like, it's blowing my mind that BitShares has gone below 10 million. I don't want to say I'm happy about it, because that's not necessarily the best way of saying it, because I'm not really happy about it. But at the same time, once these things are able to be done on Steam using these types of tokens, I think that BitShares will go up another a good bit, especially once you have a bunch of people on Steam at using them.
Yeah, it's well, all of it's going to be very interesting. I'll put it that way.
Let's face it, Pizzagate, that is just a great way of. It's like a big wide open door for us to take it to the mainstream with this idea if it works. God, man.
Yeah, because it's great, because like there's nothing out on the internet that people can freely publish stuff like Pizzagate, right?
Yeah. Like, I was actually on Twitter, and I went out to there's this on Twitter about Pizzagate, and I said, yet you keep going to vote.co and you're not logging anything on a blockchain. So you basically are telling everybody to go to leave Reddit, where they've censored them, to another site where censorship is extremely easy too. It's not a problem for the people who run these vote.co servers to censor people. And that can't happen on the Steam blockchain. And add into it that the whenever you go to their site, they're saying we're having a huge influx of people and we need donations running the servers at this level. And it's like, well, that's another thing Steam doesn't have to worry about. It's like, I don't understand why people aren't seeing this, especially when some of them are David Seaman, who have apparently done a lot of research on blockchain technology. It's a huge opportunity for us, though, man.
Yeah, we're providing it free. We're not like begging for more money or donations.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, as people like YouTube or groups like YouTube, they're starting to demonetize things that they think that are unpopular, that they don't want you to watch. It's not even something where the viewers get to decide.
Yes.
It's where an algorithm decides, and they're like, if it's hate speech, you will not earn money on YouTube and things like that. But on Steam, you can earn money for your free speech. You know what I mean? Like, monetizing free speech, to me, that's such an intrinsically valuable thing. And yes, it's subjective, but shit, man, it's something that is more priceless than anything else that we have, really.
Yeah, it gives you the freedom to be uncensored. Like, you don't have to censor yourself and speak a certain way because you're going to be punished for it.
Exactly. And even, the cool thing is, it's possible to have a site where, everything on Steam that gets flagged, guess what? If it's flagged, it goes onto this website. Like, so you're actually promoting the flagged material. There are people, there's all kinds of stuff that can be done. So even the censorship, the quote unquote censorship that you see on the chain, really isn't even censorship if, as long as the chain stays.
Yeah, it'll just get another probably impetus for someone to create something sooner, to have a site that's just devoted to flags, for instance, or certain content.
Yeah, so you actually have like people who want to talk about extremely divisive topics, but that's okay. It's free speech, and you actually get paid for going and talking about it and making points that everybody likes or dislikes. And you might get flags too, but you have the raw and uncut power of the freedom of speech to hear, and there's going to be dangers to that, but it's not going to be, it's going to be something that it's the best and safest thing that we have. We can't regulate that shit. We can't say, who says what fake news is. If fake news has to be proven to be fake. You have to actually show that it's fake, you have to actually have a reason for people to say that it's fake. But being fake is coming from people who are being paid. They're being paid to say this stuff. So who's really fake? The people who are not getting paid to research something, or the people who are getting paid a lot. But anyway, no, I don't think so, Lion Day. William Banks, I did talk to him, though, at one point.
Hey, Lion Danny, congrats on, I guess, winning all the Viva Coin shares. Or, I see Lion Danny decided to grab all of them.
Did you grab all of them?
I was competing with him for bidding. I just wanted a few, but, he decided to grab all of them, purchase all of them. But that's great. I was just wondering what he was thinking about using them for.
I don't know what I would use them for.
I was thinking about, if I got a few, just to devote at least one for the open so the Beyond Bitcoin community, just so we could at least think about and experiment with it. But that's okay.
Well, I was actually wanting to talk to him about the potential of getting people to
one thing I was thinking about was it would just help because we do have this great community of programmers and stuff that are already knowledgeable about BitShares and Steem and stuff like that, or just getting them tied in directly with some kind of financial incentive of giving them at least a coin or two of one of those crowns would be nice, a good thing to do, because you already have this sort of
I actually wanted to talk to him about the potential of holding one of the ICOs for who joined here.
Sorry? Are you talking to me, or?
Says about it. No, the guy at William Banks. But I mean, we could do some of that for your project, of course, too. You know that.
It's an option, yeah. I mean, well, anything's an option at this stage, since we're quite early.
Yep.
And then there's also
the
big holders, like new big holders like Lion Danny. He might have an idea of
new big holders.
Yeah, I guess now he's he's going to own 50 crowns of the Viva coin. So it all depends on what the holders like him plan to do with their current crowns, because I think you're allowed to. You don't have to hold them. You could lease them out or something like that, I think.
Well, what he should do is he should become the god of all of us with crowns, and he should basically just run around slapping us and telling us we're no good. I'm sure that's what he's up to. Lion Danny's parable of the cave.